And Jim Anderson leads us in the pledge.
Please pray with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for your love, for your mercies. We ask that you would be with our commission today in decisions they have to make, that you would help them to know what is best for our community. We ask that you would be with our military, watch over them and protect them, and forgive us when we fail you. For these things we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call the regular meeting of City Commission to order. Thank you all for coming. Consent agenda, this regular meeting of April 6th, special meeting April 8th, and joint city-county workshop on April 13th. So we had quite a few meetings since last time. Hope everybody's had a chance to look over those, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I need to read in a couple Form 8s for the meeting that occurred on 4/6/21.
Okay, go right ahead.
Commissioner Lowry executed Form 8B memorandum of voting conflict for county, municipal, and other local public officers at the 4/6/21 meeting, as he had a business interest with the party. That was on 4/6/21, and then he had another one. Mr. Lowry signed Form 8B memorandum of voting conflict for county, municipal, and other local public officers for that same meeting date, with this for the same reason. Those will now be a part of the minutes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well,
With that being said, that addition to the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Motion to approve by Commissioner Ashbrook, second. Second by Commissioner Langston. Any discussion? Anyone? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0. Commissioner Lowry will not be here today. He is sick, so hope he'll get well soon. Okay, Mr. City Attorney, it's your turn.
yes, Mayor, two things on the agenda today for me. The first one being ordinance 589, the draft ordinance 589, mobile home on Avenue E update. At the last meeting, I was instructed to reword or amend the proposed ordinance to just be specifically to that one lot on Avenue E in Northport St. Joe. I have done that. I also added some language with regards to making sure that it deals with the hurricane and the aftermath of the hurricane as well. You should all have it before you,
Yep.
and the board needs to make a decision on what they need to do or what they want to do.
Okay, on page 14, section 2, sectional modular does not say anything about mobile homes, and then it has to meet the rules and regulations of the city of Port St. Joe. So how is that going to fit?
First off, it's all other requirements and ordinances of Port St. Joe. So it's an exception to the one that is stopping mobile homes from being on Avenue E in Port St. Joe.
Okay, and in this case, we already know that they can't get the mobile home, and let me back up a minute. Do we need to include mobile homes in that?
I think it would be better if I added the word mobile home in there. Yes, I do.
Okay. And then also, we know in this case that due to setbacks and so forth, it won't go on there the way it should, having the front door face the road, and that is one of our rules and regulations. So it's kind of, to me, it's kind of moot if they can't face that front door. And I don't think just creating a door and saying it's the front door is going to suffice. So that's just my comment. I'll open the floor up for other comments because this is just a draft.
I think that they got, with the trailer company, that changed. With the trailer, we were couldn't finish the way it would fit.
So we're gonna reduce the size of the trailer, is that what I'm hearing?
The door is gonna be facing the road, we're gonna take one.
Yeah, we'll have to have them come up, Miss Charlotte. Yeah, you might,
Come up.
both of you folks, Ms. Latonya may wanna come up too, and
What are the
so if
setbacks
we have
there?
some questions, we can.
If it's less than 50 feet or less, it's 7 foot on each side, so maximum is
As
36.
As usual, sign up and state the name.
Latanya Gainer.
William.
We did still need it to be, vertical, Commissioner Langston. The mobile home, what is it, Kelvin, he said, when y'all allow him to bring it, he will put the door, when it will be facing the road. And she's also with the porch built.
Front door, porch front, look, this, for me looking at it, it's gonna look nice. I bet y'all like it.
So it just sounded like you're gonna create a front door at one end or the other, is that what I'm hearing?
They're gonna make it.
They gonna take the
Take the
window.
window and cut it into a door
Uh,
to make it a front.
okay, but, and still, that being said, Clint, we still need to add that mobile in there,
If you could
if,
top.
I mean, I'm not sure this will go through, but we're trying to work it, but I'm still, I just have to say, I'm still a little bit leery of starting to allow mobile homes in the city. But I'm just one of five, so like I say, I'll look forward to any other discussion that anybody wants to bring up.
Mayor, I have a couple comments. Mr. Attorney, the last time I spoke with you about this, I mentioned that I'd be more comfortable if this thing expired after that owner sells the property as recorded as a deed restriction. Any idea on if that's possible or how that would work? At least it won't be a mobile home in perpetuity, so if the community starts to increase in value around it, it's not gonna affect it forever.
I think I could explore trying to do that, but I think that is just stepping into a whole area that we don't need to. Starting to put, the city putting deed restrictions on certain lots.
I mean, to me, it's the same as recording a lien. I mean, it's the same thing, you just go to the courthouse and record, hey, this property ceases to be attached to this ordinance on the sale of the property. You're the lawyer, I'm not sure how it works.
Well, yes, I think we could do that. I'd like to look a little bit more into in terms of a couple of just the procedures of it. But I don't know, it's getting into the deed restriction business on certain properties. I just wouldn't advise doing that.
And my next question was, it was brought up that there might be some size issues with the lot, so even if it is approved here today, there would have to be additional variances given because of the width of the trailer and the width of the lot. What's the story? Who has that answer?
That's why it's going in.
That's why it's going in a long way, they're changing the front door.
So it would meet all of our setback criteria.
Setbacks and the regulations as far as front door facing the street. I believe that's what I'm hearing anyway. Yeah. Commissioner, you have any comment?
Well, I thought I had it clear in my mind and then I got a little confused. So the plan is to not put the mobile home to where the original door is facing, and then it would be 48-foot mobile home on a 50-foot lot, so you don't have 1 foot on each side. And because of that being so problematic, you've now decided to turn it where it be end to end facing the back of the lot and the road in front of it.
Right.
To be honest with you, I can't visually decide if that's more appealing or less appealing. Because then if you did build a deck, I guess it would either have to be on what used to be the front or the back.
No, it'll be at the front door.
Yeah, the one that you're required to have. Yeah, it would be what used to be the either right or left side of the mobile home.
Well, Well, we need to, for these folks' sake, we need to give them an answer. So we've really got to, if we want Clint to write this other in there, yeah, he needs to move forward with that, but we don't need to keep kicking this can down the road. They need an answer. She's paying interest on the home, so I think they deserve an answer, whether we're gonna allow it or disallow it.
I have one other question, Mr. Mayor. Did you look at the option of maybe bringing litigation against the people that sold you the mobile home?
Well, they told us to come and talk with you all to see what y'all could do to help. The thing is, it is gonna be my mom's word against their,
That's
their
what I
word.
was thinking,
And
yes.
she said, all they is there to do is sell you whatever home, a home.
Right.
And she told my mom it would be, my mom is wording it. Somebody had to tell her.
Yeah, and I believe that. I believe that
Yeah.
they snookered you in the difference between a mobile home and a modular home. And we're trying to now figure out what can we do to find you a place to live. I do see that if the city does move forward with the ordinance and allows you to put the mobile home there on the lot, then the option of suing that company and trying to, or either turn that one in and get a modular home, you're not gonna have much of a chance then, because you obviously be moving forward with setting up the mobile home.
Well, more so they really saying, she came in and purchased a mobile home, is
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, Clint, just, I think the one item that we agreed on was putting the mobile in there, and you were Commissioner Ashbrook.
I just don't wanna see it in perpetuity, Mayor, that's all.
I know.
I'm comfortable with it, but in 30 years, we don't know what the community's gonna look like. And to have a mobile home surrounded by $250,000 homes isn't gonna look so great.
But can I ask,
That's what the ultimate reason we're here on
Right,
this,
exactly.
for not allowing, mobile homes inside the city limits.
I think this can be what you said can be accomplished by just putting a sunset provision in this particular ordinance, whereby if they sell the property,
Sunset
this,
that
this
transfer.
ordinance ceases to exist and it goes back to where it was.
You got my vote.
Well,
I think that can be done.
and the mobile home would have to be moved.
Yeah,
You wouldn't be able to
correct.
sell the
Someone would
property
have to-
with the mobile home, they'd have to take it somewhere else.
Well, we all.
As long as Lily Mae lives there, that's fine.
That would be my idea.
Okay, Commissioner Lang, you had a comment?
I just want to say, due to, circumstances, I want to make it clear that after this decision was made, whether it goes, the way that I want, which everybody knows how I feel about it, I think that this, we should put it some type of way where this is it. I mean, I wish, we could put something in writing saying this is it, that it would not be allowed anymore. And we stick with that because, of circumstances. That's why I feel, the way that I feel about it. But I think that this should be the last trailer that we allow, in a non-trailer, zone, or in a R1. And move forward.
and I would be more comfortable with that idea, because I'm just not wanting to open the door to mobile homes in the city.
Yeah.
I voted against the last one that we approved, and it went forward and was approved. But I do like the idea, what Commissioner Langston is bringing up, and I probably could be persuaded if I knew that we had language in the city that was much stronger than what we have now. Because obviously the language we have now, all it takes is 3 votes to change it. Maybe we would have to agree to something of a supermajority vote, or something that had language that said if one dissenting vote out of the 5 votes no to a future mobile home, then it will not pass.
Well, the thing that I think about, the sunset thing and so forth, is if we set a precedent, Mr. Attorney, and Kevin wants to come put a mobile home on his lot, where are we legally, if he takes us to court and said, well, you set precedent over here, and so I should be able to do the same. That's what
It's
I'm.
gonna put you in a spot, I think.
Okay. That's what scares me a little bit. That's, you know, so if you can figure a way to get around all that, then be a little easier to swallow. So, all right, let's move forward with what you've heard, and we'll try one more time in the next meeting.
So let's put a mobile home, just put the word mobile in there,
Yeah.
and the sunset provisions.
Yeah, I think so. Ladies, sorry you had to come back again. This gentleman keeps standing up in the back. Would you like to say something?
I'm just stretching, man, make sure everything's
Okay, okay, all right, okay. Didn't want to leave you out if you want to speak. Okay, all right, we'll work on it. We'll move next time. Next meeting is, 1st of May, first Tuesday.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay,
The second thing I had on my agenda, Mayor, was, I was instructed to draft an agreement for the sale of water to the Gulf County, via the Jones Homestead interconnect valve. I did that, it should be
Yeah.
in front of you all.
Yeah.
I think the staff just needs a recommendation as to how you guys would like that.
yeah, I looked at it and it looked like exactly everything that we talked about, at the last meeting, the rate, the turn on, turn off fee, so forth, the, termination, agreement, so forth, so, it's business, we're selling them a product, we need to have a contract, it's as simple as that. And, we had a contract with Lighthouse, we do not have a contract with the county. We're allowing them to use our water at the present time to prop up the pressure for their customers, and, we just need to have a contract. And, I think it's fine. You guys, what is your opinion?
I'm comfortable with it, Mayor. We had this similar with Lighthouse Utilities.
We did, actually, this is a little bit lower based on our rate study, per 1,000. Now, we did not have a turn on, turn off fee, but, we were losing money on that deal every time we had to go out there, so. And sometime we had to pump it out so we could get to the valve. So, all right, if you looked at it, all it needs a motion to, for me to sign it and forward it to the county.
Is the valve on or open currently?
It's been open
Yes.
since we agreed,
Last meeting.
meeting before last to quote, help them out.
Yes.
And of course, it's metered, so we'll, now, from the time we opened it up till now, there was no contract. So, I don't know what was the agreement then, Jim?
As soon as we left the meeting, Mayor, I did talk to Mr. Butler and Mr. Hammond immediately after the meeting, telling them that we were in pursuit of opening it up and told them that we were gonna follow our rate study rates on there. So yes, they were.
So they're
They were
aware, but that was
Yes.
just phone call.
Yes.
If the board would like, I could put this rate as retroactive to the date that it was turned on.
Yeah. That's
So-
more than fair.
I'll amend that, but you guys can still vote to have the mayor sign it with that amendment.
Right, okay,
So moved, Mayor.
okay. Motion Commissioner Ashbrook, there's a second. Second by Commissioner Langston. Discussion, anybody in the audience want to discuss? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 4-0. So I will sign this and,
Once I make the
with the
amendment.
amendment, and we'll, we'll move on and, go from there.
That's all I have today, Mayor.
Okey dokey. Jim, under old business?
Yes, sir. COVID update. We have had vaccinations still going on at the Centennial Building. The Washington Gym was also utilized last week, to my understanding on there. So we're trying to get the word out to as many people as that are willing to get out there and get vaccinated. I believe they've opened up to everyone that's 18 or older, I believe, Mayor. So-
16.
Is it 16 now?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, which is great, great. I talked to, Sarah Hines right before the meeting, so I could give you guys an update. All right, because this article in Sunday's paper says that our region's vaccination rate is one of the worst in the United States. And this region is calling out the states in our region, Alabama, Georgia, and so forth. So I talked to Sarah, she said we're doing good. We have 50% of our population of 50 years and over. And of that population, we vaccinated 50% of that. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We've vaccinated a little over 60% of the 65 and older population. I asked her, Commissioner Langston, I asked her specifically about the clinic at Washington Gym last week, and she said it was okay. It wasn't good as she wanted it to be, and I told her I was hoping Chester would be here today tonight, but she sent out word to 45 stakeholders in Northport St. Joe to spread the word. So if you would spread that word, because it's important for us. With that being said, former City Commissioner John Reeves is in ICU right now at Bay Medical with COVID, very serious. He's got clots in his lungs and some other serious issues. So he felt bad and he just thought he'd get better. And a couple of weeks later, he had to call the ambulance and take him to the hospital. So he's now in intensive care. So it's serious stuff, folks. We still need to take it serious.
I like to say that, I don't think, we're still not taking it serious enough, especially, as far as being vaccinated. I've been talking to people, and, you got some that are just so stubborn that,
Yeah.
they don't wanna go.
The J&J thing this week, Johnson Johnson thing didn't help everybody as far as pushing them to get it. They've had to react to it. Only 6 people out of 6 million had a reaction that they still had to address by law. So that was that, but it's a safe vaccine, and it's certainly a lot easier for folks to get if we could just get them. It's still on the table. We made a motion and had a unanimous vote to pay our city employees a half day's pay to get the shot. So if you department heads would keep pushing that to your employees, we get Johnson Johnson back, it's easy and safe. So anyway, that's my soapbox on the pandemic.
New business, Long Avenue Water Sewer Project. We've been working on this for several years, so we are finally to the point to giving you a recommendation. We opened up bids last week. What we have, if you'll flip over to your bid tabulations on page 17 starting, you'll see the low bidder was L&K contracting at $4,170,650.58. So you ask, what does this mean to us? We have went to state revolving fund to help out with the funding of this project. And what they proposed to giving us is on the sewer side is an 80-20 grant to loan, 80% grant, 20% loan. On the water side, 54-46. So the water's not quite as good, but it's still the best thing going out there that we've been able to find. 54-46. 0% interest rate on the sewer for 20 years, 0% on the water for 30 years. Adding all this up, what does this mean? It means that the grant total will be $2,925,052. The loan portion that we would have to take out would be 0%, 1 for 20 and 1 for 30, water and sewer, $1,245,598. So it's not free, but in order to get that almost $3 million grant that's there. And also, there's an alternative in there that's actually for stormwater. You would have to pay this out of pocket. This grant only covers water and sewer, does not cover any paving either, so this is strictly water and sewer. But this proposal is also for an $80,000 stormwater fix that's actually on Long Avenue and close proximity to Long Avenue Baptist Church. So with that in mind, what we have for your consideration today is to sign off on awarding this bid pending state revolving fund approval. I know it's one of the largest ones we bid out in many, many years, so we're open up this time for you any questions that you may have on it.
In the total scope of this project, this is water lines, sewer lines, and paving from where to where?
From First Street, you'll start down at First Street, you'll have a lift station. And then the sewer line is all the way to, is it all the way to 16th Street? 17th. And then the water line's all the way down to the Shark Tank, isn't it?
I believe beyond the wall a little bit,
I think so.
Madison, sorry.
So it's all, so the majority of, so new water line, rehabbing the sewer, new lift station, and repairing a stormwater issue that we have along Long Avenue Baptist Church. And then at the end of the day, when all this is done, we'll come back to you when we get close and we'll need to go out to bid, depending on how bad the road is. We know we want to pave it. Yeah. So probably, Josh, is the construction period, what, 12 months is what we're looking at?
It's a year.
Yep, big project. And we
This
still,
4.1 million does not include paving.
Nope,
Okay.
no paving whatsoever. Nope.
about $1.5 million, we're guessing. We're hoping to be less, but I think that may, hopefully the upper end. I don't know, you guys, you know, what it costs now, especially with oil prices. But, it's great, and L&K, okay. Josh, do you know anything about L&K, where they're from, what work they've done?
I don't know about their location, but we did call some of our other constituents, people that have worked with them, and all the ratings were very high. They came back very, very highly recommended, and it had done some very successful, very good job. So we did check references. Philip Jones actually with us made a lot of phone calls, and they came very highly recommended to do this work.
Sounds good. It's $500,000, a little over $500,000, less than, that's $500,000. $500,000 less than the next highest bidder, the next lowest bidder, so. Everybody understand that will add how much to our debt service, Jim?
Based on this right now, as it sits, $1,245,598, Mayor. That's water and sewer, plus $80,000 out of pocket that we'd have to write a check for the.
Right, and the debt service, one side's 20 years, one side's 30,
Yes, sir.
at 0% interest.
That's correct.
So
Sewer,
we get
20.
free money,
I mean,
nothing very good. Anything outside of Long Avenue project itself, anybody, John or Josh, it's gonna affect everybody down that corridor. That's a school bus run, regular school bus run, that's probably what you're thinking about. And
And there could be times, that's the major hub for the lift station there, so at some point, you could have some potential where we have to outage or rerouting, those type of things, especially with water, the valving, I don't know, I'm not smart to figure out exactly how they're gonna put all that together, but there could be from time, this is a major, major project, that is your major hub for water and sewer.
so Garrison and Monument will be increased and hopefully, they'll get the bridge fixed before long and then, of course, they use 98 and go down Gaudium. All right, I'll entertain a motion to award the low bid to L&K contract. Commissioner Langston made the motion, there's a second. Second, Commissioner Ashbrook. Any other questions? I'm sure there'll be quite a few, but, Josh and John are available and I think I heard Jim say John and Josh gonna work this thing over with a fine tooth comb to make sure, everything is what it says.
What's the timing on the start date? When are we looking to start, months from now?
I think the contract, from my understanding, the contractor's willing to start pretty soon. The first step is we have a laundry list of things we have to get to the state revolving fund. So y'all trigger the first initial step that y'all are approving it. I've got to get that list of items back over to them and get the green light from them, and then we'll have a pre-construction meeting, I would assume, work on a contract, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we get those items done.
Inside of 60 days?
I would say
I-
60 days.
I would hope so.
60?
I think so.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking from a school perspective, Mayor, I don't know what end they're gonna start at, but if we could get that whole school area done before school's back in session would be ideal.
Yep, but of course, paving will be. But I think we can work with them and get that bid. Okay, any other questions, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes 4-0.
The next item we have is travel trailers on home sites destroyed by Hurricane Michael. Mayor Bezet briefly talked to you at the last workshop on this.
Yeah, and we had some really good discussion on it, matter of fact, and of course, once again, I'll go back to we had a policy, lack of a better word, that would allow folks, homes that were damaged to live in a mobile home on their property while it's being fixed, but we didn't have a policy for homes that were totally destroyed. And, of course, most of those are on Highway 98 on Constitution Drive, which is a large portion of our ad valorem revenue. With that being said, there's nowhere to rent in the city, to start with. If somebody wants to move here and build a home, they have nowhere to live while the home's being built. So, I would like to see us allow that. We talked about 18 months, drop dead date 18 months. Commissioner Hoffman had the idea, which I liked, which was a 12-month window for any of these properties to able to utilize a policy if we pass this policy. In other words, if somebody comes in on the 11th month and 29th day and has a contract in hand, and they live in the city with a Florida St. Joe driver's license and all those boxes that we talked about checking, then they would be allowed to have the 18 months. Is that kind of what you were alluding to?
Yeah, I think that the only way I'm gonna support this idea is if it is tight enough that will preclude others from just coming down, parking the RV,
Yep.
and they make it a weekend retreat, and they're really not gonna build a house.
Right.
So the more language that we can put in there to negate that from happening, then I would be interested in looking at the option.
Right. My thoughts were you had to have a building permit, you have to have a signed contract with a contractor, you have to be a resident, and of course, the homestead thing, you gotta have your house on there before you homestead it, but if you check off all those boxes, I mean, if you got a contract with a contractor and it can't be yourself, that might be another wiggle room for them to find a way that, but if we have an 18-month drop dead date, in 18 months, that trailer's gotta be gone. That would be, and the trailer has to be parked on the rear of the property. I'd like to see that, so somebody would park one right in the front, and it has to be a home that was destroyed in the hurricane. It has to be, and there are other homes that were not on Constitution. There are homes all the way back, really all the way to Marvin, I think, some side of Marvin. If those homes are still in existence, it would apply to them also. Now, the sooner we can accommodate these folks and get these homes built, the better it'd be for us ad valorem wise. The property on the highway is selling $300,000 a lot. Time you build a house, you got $1 million, and that's all helping our tax base get back where it should be.
Do you think that it would take 18 months for them to build their house?
Right now, dude, yeah, you're probably getting ready to get into that yourself, so I think you better be prepared for 18 months. It's tough. It's very tough right now, so,
So the clock would start ticking when they brought the mobile home, irregardless of if they poured a foundation or not.
no, they can't even bring it till they get building permit and a contract with a contract with a building contractor would be my thoughts. Cause then they can bring it in here and start
Right.
living in it, before you know it, it's another 6 months, and they're just coming out here with boats and going out fishing
And then they turn around and sell the lot and move the mobile home away. That's the situation that I'm trying to safeguard, from happening, because that's gonna happen unless there's language.
We got tight, it's gotta be ironclad tight, and they can't even put it there till they have a building permit and a contract from the contractor that says they're gonna build whatever house is required for that area, and they've gotta have they gotta be a resident of the city. To be a resident, you gotta show a driver's license.
Yeah, the only other concern that I have that I think of right off is, I know a few months back, I called Jim and I said, hey, I got a question, I wanna make sure I answer it correctly. And the question was, we have a person that's lived in Gulf County pretty much all their life, and currently lives in Weewaw, has purchased a lot on Jones Homestead Road, and the question he asked was, hey, can I bring my fifth wheel and set it up on the lot while I build my new house? And now I know that the answer to that question currently is no, you can't. So if we do move forward with this situation, we would be saying, yes, if you met all those requirements, and there was a house on the lot at one point that was destroyed by the hurricane, but we would still be saying no to the people that, like this gentleman's idea was.
Yeah, I know, I see what you're saying, and if you had all these provisos in there, then we'd be pretty sure that they're gonna actually build a house, even at the homestead site. So you're saying maybe open it up?
Well, I'm
Or
just
not?
saying, I hate to tell somebody from wherever that they're coming from, and I want them to come and build here too. I just hate to pass an exception that would allow the person that wasn't here at all, didn't have any effect to the hurricane, they just happen to buy that lot, and now they can come and set a mobile home up or
Right.
trailer and live there for a year and a half while they build, but we're gonna tell our own community. And you know, my plans are to build a house, and I'll just make it clear, I'm not setting up a mobile home, don't wanna set up a mobile home, so I'm not arguing in any way for my future plans when I build. That's my concern, is we're gonna tell one group yes, just based on the lot they bought, happens to be one that was destroyed by the storm, and then have to tell others no, so.
But the underlying intent of this resolution or provision that you want, or policy that you want to do, is to get us back to where we were before. Where all the homes that were destroyed, get us back to some semblance of where we were before, and rebuilding those back.
Yeah, and that's a good point, I appreciate that. And I think you're correct. That's what separates the two issues.
Any vacant lot that was vacant before the hurricane, that people are buying and building a house on,
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with getting us back to where we were. That's moving forward.
Good point, good
yeah,
point.
I got you.
Right. We have to go ahead, and then I've got one man that wants to go out.
The last discussion we had, it had to be the primary residence.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to have been theirs. We're just saying if there was a lot that had a home on it that was destroyed, like, for instance, the guy that you guys been talking to, he didn't own that property before.
That's correct.
He's buying a lot that had a home on it that was destroyed
Right.
in the hurricane.
We're trying to
Facilitate getting those homes rebuilt.
but it would.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if he's from Georgia, or Alabama, if he has a home where he can stay while his home is getting built, why would he come bring the trailer here to stay there?
Good point.
Where's builder?
While his home is getting built here?
Because he sold his house in Alabama and he sold his house in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's what created, because I told him, I said, brother, I feel for you, but he said he had a hardship. I said, you do have hardship, but you created it. And you sold both your houses.
I don't wanna.
The hurricane didn't create it.
Everyone into that same, same body, because some people may need that. And, just because one person did it like that, I don't wanna, hold it against anyone else that really needs that, to live.
So you're saying he might be building a second home there and not his primary residence?
Sounded like, Commissioner, it sounded like the caveat would be that they would need to change their driver's license, because correct if I'm wrong, Police Chief, if I claim my residence here in Port St. Joe, I'm supposed to go down to the courthouse and change my driver's license to the city of Port St. Joe, I think.
Within 10 days.
There you go. So that may be the.
See, that's one of the providers, I said, the driver's license, building permit, the contract,
But
the 18 months.
to get the driver's license, that address, you got to have the mail, you got to have
Utility bill,
power.
yeah.
So it would have to be a built house for you to get your address changed there.
Well, I think, couldn't you get a temporary pole like anybody else when they get a construction pole, once they get that and show the city bill and the
They put a
Power bill.
mailbox out there.
You could
mailbox,
do
I
that,
think,
yeah.
that may be that.
Have to show it in.
Come on up, Robert.
Robert Branch, 1061. In respect to what y'all said, that y'all brought up some good points on both sides. And Mr. Hoffman, you actually, travel trailers on home sites, and correct me if I'm wrong, are we talking travel trailers or mobile homes, or just travel trailers? This whole triage here. There's a big difference.
Travel trailers, not mobile.
Right.
I know, Mr. Hoffman, you said mobile homes, but,
Yeah, no,
and I just wanted.
no discussion about a mobile home, just like a
Okay.
RV or fifth wheel,
Okay.
camper.
Because believe it or not, I actually checked on buying a mobile home for myself, and actually the ordinance in Gulf County as a whole, if I want to put it anywhere in Gulf County, it's got to be a wind zone 3. That's the reason I'm kind of highlighted that. And to buy a wind zone 3, it's gonna have to be probably 2 or 3 years old. And if y'all haven't priced any lately, a mobile home, not a travel trailer, they'll hurt your feelings. I just want to clear that up.
I've heard that.
Okay.
Expensive.
Thank you, Robert.
Mayor, I've got one comment.
Okay.
And I think that, if the goal, and I think you said it, if the goal is to grow our ad valorem base back to what it was, why are we discriminating against whether they currently live here, they're moving here, or it's a second home or not? Why don't we just say for the next 2 years in our LDR, any home under construction may park a fifth wheel or a trailer behind the home site during the construction of the property? And then just have a definite shut it off date. It helps, it's kind of like a little boost of incentive to go ahead and get it done now.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta have a sunset date. We gotta have a time limit, or they can just build like down the street from me. They've been doing it for 2 years. So
Rather than
in and out of
decide,
town.
but rather than decide who qualifies, if you have a building permit issued from the building department, we do it for commercial construction all the time. You can put a construction trailer out there that they have a little office in. And I mean, it makes it easier for the house to get constructed.
I would still like to make sure they have the building permit and a contract from the contractor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to make sure there's going to be construction.
And they cannot move it there until they have these things.
I agree with that,
That, everybody kind
100% on that.
of feels, we have one more comment. Chief had one real quick, and then come on.
If you think of an area like that starts construction, like with the Windmark area,
Yeah,
just think about that. If every one of those had it would be a trailer park.
I don't know, they have enough backyard.
Well, I think what you're gonna run into as well, there's
but
gonna
that's a good point. We got vacant lots right now on the highways in the city. There's 6 lots just past, Madison on Oak Grove on the left. You could have 6 mobile homes out there. I just don't think we need to open up everybody. I just think it's gotta be, got to be.
Travel
excuse me,
not
yes,
mobile.
sir. Yeah.
you could put a Windmark with deep.
We just got to have it for one, store a storm. And I just believe
Fine,
that.
either way, it just seemed like we were nailing out a lot of detail that's gonna have to exist for this to work.
Yeah, and if folks, if, you know, there may be some folks that buy one of those lots and just, they're not interested in living in a travel trailer. They'll find a place to live while the house is being built. So they might not even wanna apply for a RV. Miss Christie, go ahead.
Christy McElroy, Woodward Avenue. My concern is, last week, I sold my property out at Cape Sandblast, because I'm just so disgusted about the travel trailers and the pole barns, and why should I make a big investment in an expensive house, and I've got to drive through all of that? Not only that, why should I be out at that area, and there's a hurricane, and the people that have their travel trailer or whatever have left it there, they've gone back to Georgia, and, or they want to move it when there's a hurricane. I mean, I think we're sort of missing, to Clint's point, we want to get back to where we were. We want the city to have the tax revenue. But what we don't want to do is create another problem. And this hurricane season is supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be bad. And I do not want to try to be evacuating with all of these campers on the road, trying to get to the same place I'm trying to get to, which is up I-10, up to I-10. I'm so irritated with the way that the county has allowed this to open up. And the people that come through that are thinking this, they want this to be their home, they're not gonna understand what these new guidelines are. All they're going to see is another travel trailer camper on a piece of property on 98. And yes, there needs to be some pretty strict guidelines. That
It have to be before I support it, and frankly, what they're gonna see, they have to see is construction going on from us, because you gotta have, we throw this in there, there's gotta be active work being done. Now, I know contractors sometimes will work on the house 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll come back and work like crazy, but that's the way the industry works.
Well, and I don't feel a lot of empathy, I'm sorry, I'm not a sociopath, but I don't feel empathy for someone that says, well, I sold my home in Louisiana, I sold my home in Alabama, I sold my home in, Georgia, and I wanna be on this piece of property while you've got plenty of money, okay? I just don't feel a lot of sympathy for
I
it.
hear you, I understand you. I think that's Commissioner Hoffman's feelings at one time. So anyway, I'd like to, I really don't think, personally, that there's gonna be a lot of takers on the way we put the gates around this thing. I don't think that.
Well, there's only so many lots that even had a house, that there's not a house
I
there.
think it's about 6.
Yeah.
6 right now.
And as far as the number of RVs and campers currently in Gulf County opened that door long ago. They're inundated with pole barns and
Terrible.
campers, but
Terrible.
that doesn't mean that the city has to follow suit.
So let's try to put something together if we want to. I would say, driver's license.
Yeah, can I just run down what I think you guys?
do. That's a lot easier, thank you.
First off, it's gotta be a lot that had a home that was destroyed during the hurricane.
Right.
We're gonna pick a date, whether it be May 1st or June 1st or whatever. You have 1 year to begin the process, but in order to put the travel trailer on there, you need a driver's license with a Port St. Joe address, a building permit, and a signed contract from a contractor to begin the building. I would also maybe suggest you make them sign an affidavit pledging that this is going to be their home.
Oh, no doubt, yes.
And then they will have, it's 1 year time to begin that process. And then once you're there with the travel trailer and the other things that we discussed, you have 18 months to finish construction.
No. From the time you sign that affidavit, you got 18 months.
Correct.
18 months.
We have a year, they have a year to begin this thing.
No.
I mean, a year to sign up to be a part of it.
Oh, this-
In the beginning,
Yeah,
the
one,
beginning.
yeah, and see, that's Commissioner Hoffman's idea, which is great.
And then, but once you're there, whether it's 6 months from now, or 3 months from now, or 11 months and 29 days,
Yeah,
you have to have those things we discussed, and then you got 18 months from the moment that you start this.
move that trailer, that property, the clock
18
starts.
months, correct.
That's what
And it must,
everybody,
and it must be on the rear of the property.
that's,
No, there-
yeah.
I think it should be 18 months maximum, or when you get the CO to move in the house, that camper's got to go.
Well, no, not necessarily, because there are people in St. Joe that have property now homesteaded that got their campers in the backyard. They
just can't be living in it.
Can't be
No,
done.
you can't, we know that, but there are lots of folks that have motorhomes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we're precluding them from parking it there, but the living in it, or
It's over.
they've got to be over.
All right, yeah, you don't have to pull it out, but you can't be
Yeah.
living in
Yeah.
it, you better be in the house.
Disconnect the utilities.
What happens if they don't stop living in it? What's the penalty?
Well, code enforcement take care of that.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, code enforcement and special magistrate, and then we can move it ourselves
okay.
and put a lien on the property. So, we got. Yes, ma'am, please come up and state your name and sign in. We got a big old can of worms to open up.
I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the, if you did the travel trailer, what about the sewage, especially if you have to have it parked way in the back?
They have to have all that hooked up to city water and sewer.
Okay, because a lot of times with
Because
a travel trailer, that might be difficult if they have to be way in the back.
There were quite a few of those, in the city right after the storm that were already hooked up to city sewer and
And then
water.
they may have to buy a little lift pump to
Yeah.
the front of the house, front of the street, so that would be up to them.
Yeah, they've got them too. And please sign in, please, so Miss Charlotte can
Well, are we ma-
Just a
get the
clarification.
Are we making that a requirement that that the travel trailer has to be hooked up to the city?
Yeah,
Water and
I
sewer?
would say so, wouldn't, Jim, wouldn't you? I mean, what,
They
they,
can take it off and
where
dump
they,
it.
they can get pumped out, or they got to have water somewhere.
I can't think of a reason. There may be,
I think they should be.
I think so. I can't think of, I think John's right. And they may have to require a lift pump or something, but that should be on there.
But still, and they would pay the impact fees,
And then,
and
yeah.
then that would be transferred to the house when they build the house.
And you're getting them on
So-
utilities,
so-
so if they got water and sewer, they have to have garbage too, so that means you have a billable customer that has water, sewer, and
That's
garbage to
right,
their
yeah.
location.
That's the whole
All right, that
idea.
makes sense.
You got it?
And
So
then-
we can make that form a motion now, or you got to bring that back to something?
No, I think you can make, in the form of the motion, what we just discussed, because I think I got it already.
And that,
And then,
And Miss Charlotte can, that'd be form in the minutes to be done. Right? It's not an ordinance, it's
It's a
it's just
policy.
a policy,
It's a policy.
or a resolution.
yeah, so,
and I think you just found your teeth when that CO was issued, we can just shut off the water and sewer. They'll have to come back to us to turn it on for their house, but we can just kill the water and sewer to their house.
if they're living in it,
If they're
wouldn't
living in the trailer, you just kill it to the
it be
trailer.
crazy to build a $1 million house?
So do you guys just
live in a
wanna
trailer?
set me free, or you want me to draft it and then take another look at it?
I'm comfortable. I think we
Bring it
checked
back
off
to us
all
to
the
vote
votes.
on.
You wanna do that, or you wanna vote on it now?
Can't we, without-
Yeah, it's just a policy, it's not a ordinance. It's just like a resolution, you could,
I'd like to at least hear it in the attorney's terms.
okay,
Okay, I'll draft this, put together, the next meeting, you guys can look at it
okay,
and decide.
okay. If you think of something else in the meantime, I'll let him add that.
Yeah,
but I
give me a
think-
call and.
Go over one more time what we discussed, please, sir.
First off, the lot must have had a home on it that was destroyed in Hurricane Michael. There's a start on date. There's a 1 year window of time for people to put a travel trailer on there. They have to produce a DL with a Port St. Joe address. We'll have them sign an affidavit saying this is gonna be their homestead property. They must have a building permit and a signed contract. Once they move that on there and they have those things, they move it on there, they have 18 months to finish the construction. It must be hooked up to city water and sewer, and they have to, and they have the garbage as well, and then they'll have to pay the impact fees to get that hooked up. And it must be in the rear of the property.
Checks off all my boxes.
I think it's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
All right,
I got my marching on.
okay, no. Thank you, sir.
The next item, Mayor, City Hall parking lot. If you haven't noticed, we have lots of folks downtown now. We have a thriving downtown business area. A lot of times when the ladies come back from lunch, there's nowhere to park. We would like to have that ability on those 6 or 7 parking spots that are directly attached to the fire department to say they're for city staff, for y'all or anybody else in here to, that way they got somewhere to park when they come in to pick up their work orders or the ladies coming back in after lunch.
Comments?
Heartburn, man. I mean, we're telling the public's come to us multiple times talking about the parking issues on Reed, and we're telling them just walk a little further. So we're gonna baby our own staff. I don't know.
I think the staff deserve it.
I do too, I do
And I
too.
feel as though, they may not, they may be going home for lunch. I mean, they may not go downtown to eat lunch. They go home for lunch and they don't have anywhere to park. Now, they're riding around like I ride around trying to find a park in front of a restaurant, you know? So, I agree with, about 6 spots for my employees because you don't have anywhere to park anyway.
Yes, anybody, any other comments?
I don't like it, man.
I think we're a business and you're gonna operate a business, you need employee parking. Parking's always gonna be a problem. I don't think that's too big of an ask.
But that's my only concern too, Commissioner, is, you know, we've got that problem in our office when Marcy takes off to go to lunch and come back, she can't park there anymore. You know, it's gone. And every other business in town is having that same problem. And are we gonna allow the businesses on Reed Avenue to earmark 2 spots per business to be just their employee parking? That's again, this is again a can of worms.
City Hall has its own parking lot. Does your business have its own parking lot?
No, that's true.
Yeah, when I first heard this, I was thinking, Jim, or the ask was for the parking, you know, where that gazebo is. And we're like, no, it's just
the ones.
5 or 6.
Talking about the backside.
The back
Yes.
side.
Oh,
We're not talking about
Yeah.
that big lot.
By the
Just-
fire station.
Yeah, just those that are against the fire
Those
station.
are only
Right
busy
by
at
the
lunchtime,
fire.
really.
Yeah.
That's on.
Yeah, and I think some of the employees at a couple of the businesses, restaurants right adjacent there are currently parked, they're filling it up. So I think that's a reasonable request.
I'm more comfortable there.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, well, you want that form of motion, Mr.
That would be great, sir.
I'll make the motion that we, identify those 5 or 6, 7 spots as, employees parking only.
Chief, you had a question?
Penalty for parking there?
We're gonna call and ask you, what can we do, chief?
Nah, I don't think so right now, we'll just have to see, let's see how it works. Now, we can do that later, hopefully we don't have to. So, anyway, okay, a motion by, was it Commissioner Hoffman, you made that? Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Lang. Discussion, anyone, any more? All in favor, aye? Opposed, same sign, motion passed 4-0.
Thank you. The next item, DEO Mitigation Program Workshop. They're having a community workshop here in this facility. They've asked to use our facility for a community workshop. It will be this Thursday, 5:30 here at this location. So,
Okay, give us the Reader's Digest version of what it means to us.
I think what it means to us, there is another grant that's rolling out as part of Hurricane Michael mitigation money. And they're here to talk to the public about how to apply and what your options are for the city of Fort St. Louis.
Okay, so we need to be here just to
Just to
get
hear what they say.
educated, and we may find some areas that we could utilize in that grant process.
Yes, That's what they're here for, to tell you what this
Right.
program's about.
So, John, you and Kevin, all you guys, if you will, there's areas that in this grant process that we might could throw one in there. Let us know so we can specifically ask them while they're here. We've got this problem, can we qualify? So we need to go after all the free money we can, because we don't, somebody else is. Somebody's gonna get it.
They're going around I think all 9 affected counties is what they're going to be doing, going around to.
Okay, all right.
The next item is the request to bid the ball field dugout. Commissioner Hoffman want to talk to you today about it.
I believe there was an update as early as today. Yeah, I think we received it.
Yeah, I got a letter in my box today, dated April 19th, which was yesterday. Dear Mayor, at our special meeting on April 19th, the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners unanimously voted to repair the 12 dugouts located at the 10th Street Ballpark and the Washington Gym. The board is requesting a memorandum of understanding from the city to provide the labor and materials to complete this project. Should you have any questions, please contact me, Sandy Quinn, Chair.
So the city's providing the labor and the materials?
materials?
Well, that's exactly the way it reads. And
Yeah,
that's kind of
I
we pay for.
I had Jim call a county commissioner
Yes.
today after we read it, and he said that the intent was for them to pay all the labor and materials, and what they wanted from us was a memorandum of understanding allowing them to do it.
Well, I think we send them a letter, a memo of understanding that's clear and specific. That one's not.
No,
That's
it's
not
not.
who wrote that one.
No.
But it would be that, because I believe the conversation with the commissioner of the county was that there would be no cost to the city. So
Yes.
I'm excited about that. So let's work on getting our letter sent to the county to have it signed, saying thank you, and we will move forward in repairing all the dugouts and with the understanding there's no cost for supplying labor from the city. We need to make sure we're clear on that.
So you got that, Mr. Clint?
Sure.
We want to, and then, if everybody agrees with that, Clint can come up with a memorandum and, I'll sign it, and, but while we're on that, let me say a couple of things. Last week in our workshop, we had, our 2 city representatives of the county, both of them, say that they were embarrassed by the shape of our ball fields. And I commented that I'm glad they were embarrassed, because they should be embarrassed. We've got over 50% of the participants in our ball down there live outside the city, over 50%. The county provides 0% to us for upkeep and maintenance on those ball fields. And so they can buy a golf course, they can buy a boat landing, they can buy a Taj Mahal for the sheriff's department, which took $1.5 million off the city tax rolls. But they can't find enough money to help our youth have a great place to play. And I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, we owe them a new city complex, a new recreational complex. That complex is 70 years old. It was designed for 2 ball fields. The parking was no problem, everybody played ball. Now we've got 4 ball fields on one side and 2 on the other side. It's dangerous on 10th Street, the kids running in and out of between cars. It just, and yes, they ought to be embarrassed. The main thing they ought to be embarrassed about is they have done nothing about it. And trying to help us. All they've done from 5 or 6 years ago was wanting us to throw money into an area that's outlived its usefulness. And so, you know, I'm upset about it. And I think they went home and maybe looked in the mirror and felt bad, and that's why they came up with this. but it just, we need to move on. We need to all get on the same page. The people in the city should be upset. They pay twice as much ad valorem tax revenue to the county than they do to the city, but we don't get any services. And so it's just dadgum sure about time that maybe if the citizens will get, enough of them get upset and talk to these guys, maybe we'll get something done. It needs to be done. We need to move past that, and I actually hate to spend money on repairing these dugouts. I mean, it was a mess down there after the storm. John and his crew made it playable. No, it's not perfect, but it's never gonna be anything. It's always gonna be a 70-year-old ball field with more people playing, more cars, neighborhood folks crying because people are parked all over their yards. And it's just, it's time that we move past it and do something better. So that's, we still probably need a motion on this, but anyway, okay, Commissioner, let the Commissioner speak, and then we'll go. Yeah.
Did we already fix the dugouts in Washington?
I think so.
Actually, we had a local contractor down in Monterey.
Yeah. Monolith, Chris and Monolith. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll need to take some of that money and give it to us for our bathroom.
You know how I feel about that. They voted to build bathrooms at RV park that they're creating at Beacon Hill, but they can't help the Washington Gym. I just, I don't know where they're finding that money, but they seem to find the money they want to find.
They found the money to buy a failing water system that supplies water to the cave.
Yep.
Now we got to sell them water.
Yep, yep. Okay, Miss Christie, I think you had your hand up first.
Mayor, thank you for what you said. You know, that's pretty much why I'm here, but I'm also here because, you know, a lot of people talked about that joint meeting and how they treated you. And it wasn't very nice. It wasn't appropriate for the way that they treated you. And I understand we want to have relationships with the county. I was talking to the mayor earlier today. I can remember in 2007 not understanding why the county and the city couldn't get along. Well, it's gotten worse. And there's a couple of people out at the county that are stirring it up and making it worse. So, you know, again, you had some agreements about the fill the drains. Those have been in place since Nathan Peters was over at the county. He's a respected man, and what was agreed upon was a respectable contract. But, Mr. Mayor, you're right, that's a wetland. And I bet you if you went out there and you looked at some of those dugouts right now, you'd see the ones that are made of block are sinking because it's a wetland. I don't trust the county in what they're proposing in trying to, you know, renovate or do whatever it is to those dugouts. I don't think that their intent is honest because I've listened to the attorney, their attorney, saying it's only 2 ball fields that were proposed out there, and that is just not true. It was 2 press boxes, it was a new basketball court, it was big fields opposed to small neighborhood fields. There was so much proposed in that plan, and Jeremy Novak is not being honest. The other thing is the property that is deeded behind the public works. You know, okay, we do need affordable housing, but do you know up in Wewall, or rather Honeyville, where their park is, that other part of that deeded property was also supposed to be for affordable housing. What have they done? My understanding is they've taken sand out of that property and sold it. I don't know all the specifics, but you better believe I'm going to find out the specifics. So affordable housing is everybody in the responsibility in the county. But as far as them doing those dugouts, Mr. Mayor, here's what I'll say about that. We had a lawsuit. We settled the lawsuit. It's been working fine, but if they think they're going to tear down those dugouts and build something brand new, they cannot do that without a development order. So what is their plan? And then we need to hold them accountable for the plan. But they do need to be contributing to this city. This city, it is attracting all of these visitors, which is why the staff can't even park because of all the visitors. And what do we get for those tourist development dollars? How many dollars do we get? Nothing.
About 10,000 for 5 or 10 for
Eight.
For
$500.
fireworks. For fireworks, it's ridiculous. Next time, gentlemen, stand up. You should be proud of representing the city. And the citizens will stand behind you. We'll stand behind you, but don't be shy to say who you are.
Thanks for bringing that up. We do need to, we need a motion and a vote, and we'll get discussion. I'll let Mr. Branch, he wants to talk again. Oh, you're good.
I appreciate things, too. I'm good. I appreciate the opportunity.
So we need a motion to allow me to sign a memorandum of understanding for them repairing at least 12 dugouts, I guess, because the other two, the two at Washington Gym have already been done. So I guess we could say at least 12 pending, I don't know, Mr. Attorney, what Ms. McElroy says. Do we have to have pending development order that's going to be approved? Is that lawsuit still there or what?
No, it's done, Mayor. What I'm saying is, it's like the nose of the camel under the tent. Are they going to just repair those existing dugouts? Or are they going to come in and tear them down and build new dugouts?
No, it just said repair, so I think
Very
they're
good.
concerned about the roof
Then
and
you're all
so
good.
on and so forth, so,
Okay.
okay, so.
Motion to approve.
Memorandum of understanding, okay, and there's a second, discussion, everybody understand, the county has agreed to pay for the, labor and materials to complete the project after we give them a memorandum. All right, all in favor, aye? Opposed, same sign, motion passed 4-0. We can get it looking a little bit better for the kids.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, who's second that? Ashford, thank you.
Okay. All righty, current city project, everybody got that list, we're checking them off, and it's looking good. The biggest one is Long Avenue, that's really exciting. I'm telling you, I'm proud of that. Okay, Grant.
Mayor, just real quick, I wanted to get the board's blessing, if you will. We talked about benches on skiers some months ago.
Right.
And we're at that point now, we're ready to construct those. And what we would like to do is, there's 4 center pilings in that pavilion. The old benches wrapped around the outer railing. We would like to move them to the interior. So it won't be exactly where it is, but it leaves your railing open all the way around for access. So if the board's good with that, then we'll put essentially one south and one north, on those outer pilings.
I'm fine with that. Everybody understand? Okay, all right, what else?
That's all I have.
Okay, oh, young lady, you had a question?
Quick question again.
Yes.
For clarification. On the one on your list of city projects, the fishing pier, working with FEMA, what does that mean?
That's out at,
Yeah, I know where it is,
yeah.
but what is working with FEMA? Where are we at? We all want a fishing pier back.
We're trying to see what our options are. The fishing piers that were there, the piles are in bad shape. So we're trying to find out from FEMA exactly how much money they will give us and what they will allow us to put back together. So we're trying to work on those options so we can bring back these guys, because yes, we know that there's a great interest in putting these fishing piers back. So we're trying to bring it back to the board to see what we can do.
Is there any timeline? Is there any?
Actually, we have had movement from FEMA this past week, and I'll let Mike
Sure.
tell you, but they've ramped things up this past week.
Yeah, they had a deadline of April 19th on a lot of these projects, but they have not finalized the cost and insurance calculations, so we don't know how much money we're going to potentially be able to get yet from FEMA. So we're waiting for them to finalize those cost numbers so that we can then put a budget together and a plan to present for improvements to those, rebuilding those piers.
Yeah, but we can't just get the money back and not build them, so we agreed a while back that we'd just do the one that's right near the restrooms, do that one big one out there and be done with it, so hopefully we'll have enough money to do that when they get through. You're welcome. Okay, Larry running good, anything on him?
Yes, sir. He got his filters in. He's planning to do the install for his new filters on the last cell tomorrow and continuing on the clarifier rehab. So he's got quite a bit of movement there. Mary, one thing, if we could, I got some numbers in from the workforce board in reference to doing some work with the Auburn students. I gave you a handout.
Right,
Lynn
everybody
sent
got
that
the
too.
handout there.
So,
I guess that's mine.
and so there for consideration, did have a conversation with Lee Elsie today about trying to do everything he could locally. So he is working on trying to get some local numbers as well, because there's a couple of things that were for out of town.
Right, the two
Well,
biggest line
yeah.
items are Home Depot, and I'd like to see them go with
Absolutely.
the people that we have in town that provide the same thing.
But if it'd be okay with the board, if we can get a not to exceed amount or something, the Auburn students are coming in, they're trying to line up work on there. And one thing we've emphasized that I think John would like to see too is that make sure they finish the projects they start. What we don't like to see is for the paint to show up in two stripes and then we're left trying to finish all the projects over there. So, but it looks like they want to do quite a bit of painting. They want to do some flooring work. It's in all the different buildings. You see front doors. Some is actually in what they used to call the Likely Building, bottom half of the gym. So if it's done right, it could really spruce it up. But we just want to make sure that y'all are okay with it, and number two, that they're going to complete where they start.
But we don't have any leverage.
No, sir.
I hate to use that word because the county used it last week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We love the students coming and helping out, but sometimes from different organizations, we've had to come back and do a lot of work, haven't we, Mr. Grantley?
How long are they gonna be here?
Usually 7 to 10 days. Usually they're a week.
Well, there's no way they can do all this in 7 to 10
Yes, sir.
days.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So,
Just unless they got 100 of them. Yeah, and that's the start. But, so what do? We say $4,500 max, but we might be doing the finish work. But
I think we,
Either that or you let them know that if it's not gonna be.
they need to, exactly.
However, they gotta complete it.
Yeah, that's
can
my
you,
recommendation.
that would be on the workforce, career,
Yes, sir.
career source.
I would think that what you want to do is, I think the easiest way is that we would allot so much money for the students to be able to work. If it's not completed, the workforce board needs to make sure that they oversee, make sure the work's done right, and they show us copies of the invoices or of what they want to be done.
So they're going to buy this material and they want us to reimburse them,
They want us to pay for it, but
up front, have it delivered. So,
Yeah.
Well, once again, that's, whatever you guys wanna do. I think it's worthy projects. Just right now, I wanna make sure it's done, it'd be nice.
But it would be easier on us to say that, hey, look, y'all go buy the materials, show us where you bought it, and we'll reimburse you, write you one check. It would make it a lot easier, wouldn't it, Mike?
That's true.
That way, we're not having to do all the ordering, that way, we're not having to do all the reimbursements.
And they probably don't pay sales tax either, though, do they?
I would assume not. I would,
Well, so it doesn't behoove us to buy it, so, yeah, we'll approve, let's get a motion to approve up to
$4,500 in reimbursement.
$100 as reimbursable to them. They've got the
Upon
product.
receipt of,
Yeah, and with emphasis on buying local.
Well, my question is, do they
A
have?
motion, let's get a second or something before we move. Second for discussion. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Hoffman.
I'm concerned, do they have $4,500 that they can spend, as far as, and I get, we don't wanna have to make multiple
well, we just got a check for
payments, but
15,
we
didn't
could authorize a single payment of $4,500 to cover the expenses.
Whatever y'all wanna do, if
Then
y'all
we're
wanna.
done,
Okay. We did right that they do have the summer program money. We went ahead and cut that check to them. But we can do that if you want to. If y'all just want us to cut the check to them and with the stipulation that we want to see the work being done, that's up to y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're wanting to partner with the city and do things that benefits not only their summer program and their workforce program, but it benefits everybody that uses those facilities. So in my mind, we're getting free labor. And, you know, they may not finish one of the projects and we have to eat it.
They do a lot when they come.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with just cutting
Cut
the
the
check
check.
for
Okay,
$4,500.
that was your motion.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's your motion, your second discussion, your name.
About 6, 7 months ago, like the walkway, I mean, from the bathroom, from the Winnick Center to the end of the workforce building. It's leaking real bad and had an older woman to fall, really bad. And, I talked to Lee and, he was talking about that walkway. It gets real slippery underneath it. It gets real slippery underneath it. And, Miss Geraldine Lewis, she slipped and fell and decided that she was fine. And, she was hurt. I went to see her, she was hurt, but she was fine. And, I think it's time for us to get something done before we.
I think they got that covered. They got texture for the floor right there.
Mayor, I think what this is actually the covered walkway of what Commissioner Langston's talking about.
Covered walkway?
It's the covered walkway that goes, yeah,
Okay.
the covered walkway. What happens, there's no pitch on it. It's old wood with just, standard shingles on top of it. It's quite old. John and I went and looked at it. Ultimately, that needs to be engineered and come up with a pitched roof on there. It's gonna be expensive. So that was one item that we didn't have an answer for at this point in time for that one. We tried to make as many repairs as we can. And like we told them was, we think that's something probably that we need to bring to you, that we need to get an engineer to get over there with a structural engineer to look at how do you change the pitch on that. But it's the walkway that goes around that connects all the buildings together, I think.
Can we put textured paint on that concrete as well? I know they've got textured paint for concrete on this here.
I don't know. I'm not sure. We could ask to see if there's something. Yeah. And that may be, I'm not sure, that may be what they're referring to on here. I have not had that discussion about the taper, but I know we've had a discussion before about the roof and that's something we felt was gonna take a structural engineer to tell us whether you could do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Big ticket to fix it, right? But
Yeah.
not for the paint.
No, paint, if it'll work, if that's what it is, that's not a big ticket.
Commissioner Langston, can you talk to Lee about that and see if that's part of their scope? And then if it's not, would they include it?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea as a short-term fix, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the meantime, we really need to focus on getting that fixed, during the budget time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. Any other discussion? Yes,
That same roof that you guys talking about, when it rains, the water runs directly on the electric meter. It got to be real, when it rains, I mean, have a study screen, it's hitting dead on top of the electric meter.
right. Okay.
And people walking right past it, getting to the building, so that could be kind of dangerous too, while
Right.
you're talking about that.
Okay, we'll work on that. So, any more discussion on that? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 4-0. Okay, Mr. Kevin.
So we got 2 feet of freeboard in pond right now. So we've lost about 10 inches over the last week or so, and a half with the rain we've had. We're in the maintenance mode, so we're putting things back together. We've got filters assembled, testing, and that's just a big bulk piece in the center. We'll finish that out about a week. We're doing, work at the head work. So this week is maintenance, repair, and cleanup. That's kind of what we're doing at the plant now. Next week, we'll go back to pushing the water out pretty hard. We ordered a socket disruptor, and they're better than they used to be. And I looked to see if there's any better out there. There's another plan, another program, anything that'll be better than what we've got. And I couldn't find anything better than combination of the bugs, tree bottom, and a certain structure knocking the algae down to the bottom so the bacteria.
You talking about solar bees, and they still work?
The solar bees are still doing their job. And yeah, they probably have about 2 years more life. They're about 10 years of what you expect out of the solar bees. So we figure there's probably a couple of years of life left in those guys. And that's been a good program for the cost. So that's kind of where we are as far as getting the pond back where we are. We're still under consent in August. We're doing a trial next week. Look at some of the data that I only know. So we'll do three days around the clock, work, and then we'll get back on a regular schedule. So I want to have everything done before August. So we're lined out prior to being off our consent.
And it's kind of jumping over to Josh's area, but the debris removal started yesterday?
They're cleaning out the ditch. We had a bunch of debris that was the old shed. We had it piled up. So we contracted them to haul off that stuff out to the landfill. So they should finish up they're doing the last one now, and that'll be out of the way. But we're taking the stuff from the ditch and putting it on to our property and allowing them access to get to it. So they're halfway down that ditch now. So all that seems to be working out pretty well. I don't know if they can reach something on the other side. I think it's part of my building. It's too far on the other side of it to keep it the 60-foot reach. But don't know how they're going to do it. That's up to those guys. That's under their contract. I think 3 of my guys have gotten the shot so far, so we're happy there. So we're getting there.
Sounds good.
And that's kind of where we are right now.
You're busy.
Yeah, we've been busy.
Good deal. Any questions for Kevin? Okay, Mike, what you got?
Mayor, Commission, we're scheduled to do the install on the boat ramp pay station on the 28th.
Hmm?
So we've got that company scheduled to come in and to do that installation.
Have we changed the signs yet, or we change them once we get the pay station?
I met with Steve Kerrigan yesterday and took him the language that we thought needed to be added to the ball sale sign and some stuff for the sign that will go above the pay
Above the
station.
Yes, sir.
And he said he was gonna get approved back to me and Mike on
Right.
that. So basically, we'll take that sign out at ball sale
Right.
and we're just redoing that sign
Okay,
with new vinyl.
okay, very good.
That's all I had, Mayor.
All right, any questions, Mike? Okay, we wore Josh out, I guess he.
He apologized, he had another meeting he had to go to, so, if you want me to run through this, or
Go
you can.
Yeah, go ahead, it's pretty much standard.
It is, the NERDA stormwater grant, Dewberry is still working on responses back, to the water management district, I do believe. The walking path is still ongoing. We selected the bench locations yesterday. There's still some compaction that has to occur, so we're still pushing forward on that. The CDBG grant, this week, the contractor, DCU, they're cutting the concrete and asphalt for the lateral basements. They're supposed to begin pipe bursting Monday. They said Monday, Tuesday of next week. And then they'll be tying in the affected houses. So we look forward to seeing that next week. If you guys are around, you might want to take a look at it as well. It should be pretty interesting. The First Street lift station, Long Avenue, we already discussed.
Yep.
And Kevin just told me that he has to remove the kind of duties that I'm working on.
All righty, okay. Any other question about what's going on with engineering? All righty. Next item is code enforcement. We're back with Miss Ruby Farmer's property. It's page 27 through 32. I think there are some questions about what the special magistrate required and what we agreed on. So that's before you at this time to make a decision. Everybody get a chance to look at that. see what they asked to do.
Mr. Mayor, I took, just did a little study and checking around. And I noticed that the price of the demolition just happened to be the same price that they got out there on the tax roll. So I was just wondering, did that just happen to fall like that with the rest of the properties too? I know stuff like that can't happen on purpose.
We bid the demolition out, and whoever low bidder was, I don't remember who that was, that was a while back, but it was bid out and 4 or 5.
I just noticed that the same price, the price of the demolition is running up around with the folks that tear them down, but then again, to fix that right there, me and her been talking, she putting her property up for sale. Can she do that with her property?
Well, Mr. Attorney, here's where our hands are tied. We had somebody basically make an order for what she had to do. And that was back in October. And it hadn't been done yet. We kind of gave a little wiggle room, just to defer to you, give you a chance to, do what the special master asked you to do. Basically what you're asking is for an extension.
Well, she just said she was gonna try to get rid of it because she's really just tired of, at the age she's at right now, she said she don't understand why they wanna take her property, which I feel like that's what you're doing. And she just said she just rather just sell it. And I'm asking y'all, can she have permission to sell her property? Because here taking people's property,
She can, I'll defer to the board if they want to allow you an extension, let her put it up for sale. The property's up for sale. My gut feeling is sell in 30 days because of where it is, but that's just my gut feeling, but,
Regardless of who owns the property,
it's
though,
gotta
come down.
yeah, we did that
But
for
I don't
another
understand,
property.
I don't understand, why is that?
Because you haven't brought it up to livable condition. That's what it comes down to. The order said that you have to bring it into livable.
So in other words, you gave me 90 days to spend $150,000.
We gave you more than that.
Well, just say you gave me a year and a half to spend $150,000.
We're sorry that's what it's gonna cost, but it.
No, it ain't the fact of what it's gonna cost, it's the fact that you trying to make me spend my money.
You have to have it.
That's what I'm saying. I sit here and listen, all this stuff go on, and when there's certain things y'all wanna put money on, you don't have it, then when there's certain things that need to be taken care of, it's real hard to do. It's more excuses than a little bit, but then, something that somebody don't work hard for, y'all wanna go ahead and try to take it. Scott, you're a policeman, I didn't think stealing was in your neighborhood.
I don't consider it stealing.
Yes, when you take something from somebody that don't work hard for it.
We fellas, this third time has passed.
Yeah, I know,
We need to make a decision, guys, y'all, I'll open comments for the commissioners, and then, we need to make a decision on which way we're gonna go.
I made a comment the last time that you were here. Please don't put a bunch of money into it, because if you can't bring it up to code, it has to come down. And if you wanna talk about the home enforcement, right now, you're violating code. Well, the owner of the home is violating the codes right now, our codes. And so you've had ample time to correct it. It isn't this board's fault that you don't have the money to bring it up to code. And we're not taking your property, we're enforcing the ordinances. That's all that we're doing here. That's it.
That's what you call it.
That's enforcing the ordinances, Dan, and I think
My
that we
mom
actually gave you.
my mom and dad told me a long time ago, don't trust stuff
We've
like
given
that,
you
and I know
plenty of
why.
leeway, and it still isn't done, and I'm not gonna keep kicking the can down the road.
It's cleaned up
That's
around
why
the property. Mr. Psj got a building sitting on his property right now, he haven't took completely down, out there by the highway. I'm looking at it. Nobody told Mr. Psj he got to sell his property. He got a building sitting up on his big property. You got another building sitting on the corner of 2nd Street that's in bad
We're not
shape.
going all over the board, Dan, we've done kicked it around in, Mr. Langston, you got any comments you'd like to make? I'm gonna give everybody a chance to.
I know Ms. Blue, all my life, I know the family. I feel, if you want to sell it, you have opportunity to sell it. I don't know how long it takes, for the demolition to, once we, pass it, to go ahead and, tear the house down. But, I feel she have time to sell it, but I also have to go by our ordinance and, what we have our maps for, as far as the code, So that's what I'm making right now.
Okay.
Well, from what I was reading today, last meeting, we said we gotta be more specific as to what we would require. So we had the inspector weigh in, and according to the letter I'm looking on page 27, it says the inspector came back and said, what would need to be done is replace the roof, exterior doors, windows, bring all the plumbing, electric up to code. But it also, in that same letter, says all the work should be done within 6 months. So I'm guessing this is saying that if we approved this, we would be giving the family a 6-month window to do these repairs. That's not what it's saying?
No, look, the case number, this.
Oh, this is old document.
This goes along with that, which was, I'm trying to see the date, it's sometime October 29th of 20. And that's what he's telling the special magistrate what needs to be done.
Oh, okay, I just read that.
Yeah, and so that's, and it's been,
And so then y'all got, now y'all got, them dates that you,
March, April.
Well, here's my point. I know that we had a property over off of Long Avenue.
16th and all.
Right, and that homeowner came before the city and said, well, we're about to sell it. And we worked out a deal with the buyer. The buyer then demoed the property. So I have no problems with working out a time frame because it would actually benefit the city. We wouldn't have to pay for the demo at all. Let's say if Ms. Farmer put her property up for sale, and I'm gonna guess most likely the buyer would want to start fresh and build something different, may not even be a house. But if they sold the property, recouped the money for the property, and the new buyer was willing to demo the property, in a certain
The new buyer would have to demo it.
Yeah, so
Because,
we may benefit.
we saved about $5,000, I think the demo was in close round figures, is that right, or my low?
$5,000? No, sir, it was, I'm trying to remember what it was, yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
So, okay,
No,
what do you guys think about that?
I'm okay with,
Not a bad wish list on that.
a month's time or 2 months' time to sell.
well, she got, it's some, you got people who wanna buy it, but they doing the same thing that's what's going on right here. They don't want to buy it, they want her to, y'all can have it. And when you know, I mean,
If you get with a realtor and you put a sign out there, it'll sell, you're gonna have to do that, I would.
well, I'm already talking to the realtor, like, do I have to pick the realtor you want me to pick?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm
No,
just checking,
absolutely not.
making sure.
We just
You
need
try
to,
this truck,
I
let me
need
try
to,
to make
I'll
sure.
entertain a motion that we allow, Ruby Farmer X number of months to sell her property.
Listen, man, I know how you feel
And that,
towards me, so
hold
I know
on,
you drive.
Tan,
I know how you feel towards me.
Just hold on.
It's all good.
Mayor, I think what you have before you right there would solve a lot of the problems right there. And I think you're exactly right. I think that what you could potentially do is you could say, you could give an additional 6 months to bring all those items up to code, tear it down, or sell it. 6 months from the date, if the board wanted to, that it's up to the board to say either bring it back to you in 6 months if it's not done, or go ahead and move forward with the demo. That's up to y'all, but that would give 6 months to do one of 3 things: fix it, tear it down, or sell it. But what you gotta remember is,
That's fair enough.
Mayor, just one other thing on there. You wanna have in there with that contract, if you're selling a piece of property, the next owner is still gonna be responsible for these items that, if you wanted to, the provision was that 6 months, regardless of who the owner is in 6 months, they've gotta take care of these issues. Because if not, you're gonna be dealing with a new owner with you're gonna be back to the same issues with a new owner.
Well, the new owner, if they do their due diligence, will see it when they do the title insurance.
Title,
or
it's
whatever.
gonna
They're
be there, yes.
That's gonna be recorded.
That'll be
They're gonna
recorded.
know that this problem.
They'll know, that's what makes sense. Okay, all right. Your motion to that effect. From 6 months from today. To do what Jim said, either bring up the code, tear it down, or sell it. With, and title search will reveal that
This is there, that this is a
that's
problem.
there, that it has to come down. So the new owner would know that regardless. And we wouldn't have to jump to this.
What would be the time frame of demo for the new owner?
It would be the same from now, 6 months.
6
right?
months from now, wait.
So
Today.
so in other words, if the property's sold in 5 months, the new owner has 1 month before that house is demoed.
Correct. Just said it.
That's what the attorney said.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that I was here.
6 months from today, the way I interpret this on there, something's gonna happen. It's either gonna be fixed or it's gonna be demoed in 6 months,
Okay, irregardless of who owns it.
if that's your motion.
Well, I think that fits the issue. It gives the opportunity to sell the house with the understanding of what goes with the house.
And hopefully everybody's a winner. She sells her property, makes a little money. We don't have
When somebody else tells you to do it yourself.
And you made that motion, then I already did.
I'll make it in the motion.
A motion, is there a second?
6 months extension with the option to sell the property, and after 6 months, irregardless of who owns the property, unless it is brought to code as required, then it'd be demoed.
And I'll second that for one more comment from discussion. And I'll say, Dan, I said it before, and I still agree. I would rather the homeowner take care of their property. We only have an X amount of dollars to tear a house down. Look, we've got several more coming up in front of code enforcement in the future. I don't wanna have to tear it down. I would like you to take care of it or whoever to take care of the problem. But that said, the reason I was a little harsh today is because the way you come at this board, you know,
I have no
you
other
catch no
choice.
flies with honey, you know what I mean?
I have no other choice. When I see stuff like this going on, it's sad.
But you're
It's
assuming that
it's
there's
really
something
sad.
wrong. You're assuming
I
that we're
ain't
doing
gonna
something wrong.
assume
We're trying to
when
enforce the rules.
I'm leap on.
Any more discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Was it 4-0? Commissioners, everybody voted aye. Okay. All right, Pam, we hope you'll sell it soon. Okay, let's see, Chief.
The only updates I have, we had our, vehicle delivered today on last year's Jag. So that's, it's a F1 wide F-150. That's all I can think of at the moment. Oh, had a new guy start Monday. His name's Jeremy Chase. He'd be here today, but he had to go get qualified on the range today. And, within the next 3 weeks, should have another guy starting, so I filled both positions. One is a Gulf County resident, the other lives just outside of Gulf County in Calhoun County, and, he's driving his vehicle to the substation in Weewall and parking there. So, that's kind of the limit we've set for now for people,
Okay.
living outside. But, other than that, everything's good.
I had a comment, Chief. Bay County, you're seeing more and more Bay County, get their drug task force geared up, and they're really gone full bore, trying to root that out. Well, they rooted out, guess where they can probably come?
Yes.
So I don't wanna know anything about what maybe you and the sheriff are doing, but just, keep your ear to the ground and keep your eyes open, let's don't let them end up over here.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else got any comment, question? Ms. Pierce?
No, sir, I don't have anything other than we're working constantly with our grant group. We meet weekly on grants availability and what options we have, but we are working on it.
Right, right. Money's out there, we gotta go for it. Citizens, ma'am, you got any more comments you'd like to make before we move on?
No, I have a few more questions for one of you guys over there later, but I don't need to waste the
Okay,
time.
okay, all right. Items by commissioner, I believe Commissioner Langston's first this week.
First, I'd like to say that, we as a board, we're trying to do what's right for the city. We, not trying to take anything from anybody. Sometimes I think it's best to be quiet than to, boast out. I learned that since I've been here because there's a lot of things that I want to say that should not be said in public, so I don't say it. But I think that we're doing a good job of what we're doing. I think that, the magistrate is doing a good job of what he's doing. And, there's certain situations that we deal with differently, but I'd like to tell the code enforcement that I appreciate it. I want to let the magistrate know that I appreciate them too, and I thank for the job that we're doing. Secondly, I think it's time for us to start thinking about the traffic and about the traffic, situation with the lights, traffic lights. Sometimes in McDonald's, you may have a red light and the traffic's all the way down to, Nickel Rise. I think that we need to start, trying to get some direction on what we need to do to try to control that. We have more people coming in town, and it's just not during the summer or spring, it's year round now. Sometimes I sit there about 5-10 minutes to try to get out from 98, from 8 to get on 98. And then with the traffic coming down Dr. Langston Drive, Gateway, and that's around the community, and people just take that shortcut and come through that drive and go down 8. You know, so we definitely start thinking about traffic.
Maybe lengthening the time the lights green on 98, is that kind of what you're saying? I mean, I've seen it when the traffic backed up all the way to overpass, come over the overpass and back all the way to Chevron Station, the other way, so I don't know, maybe we reach out to DOT and let them do a survey or something.
That's what I'm gonna say, it may be good, Mayor, for staff to reach out to DOT to find out with traffic ops, to find out, because they do traffic counts, and I'm sure they're working behind the scenes with stuff. I'll see if Mr. Grantley can get them on the phone and have a discussion with them, see where they're at, what they're looking at, and what their thoughts are, if you want.
Okay,
We can discuss the timing.
okay, all right, so what else? That's it, all right,
I've got nothing there.
okay. Mr. Hoffman?
I've got a couple things that I just added one. When you talk to DOT, get an update on why it's taking so long to tell us if we can or can't, or how do we make the crosswalk safe on Highway 98.
On Third Street?
I don't care where it goes.
Yeah.
We got, I think.
I think John's been working on it.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. I have been speaking with Andy White, from Traffic Ops and Safety, DOT. He did put in an order to have Transfield install those rapid flashing beacons. Transfield came back and said, came back and said, well, we can't do that. We're too close to potential conflict with stormwater and this and that. Apparently there's a 6-foot pillar you have to pour on the bottom of the pass. Don't ask me why it's so big, but it is. And long story short, where Andy has left that is they're willing to give the equipment to the city of Fort St. Joe, and we just install it. So we need to go out and check and make sure we're not going to get the same boat with potential conflicts before we accept the equipment.
Well, my theory is right now we have 2 at least, maybe 3, I'm not sure, but none of them are safe. So if we have to adjust where they are currently to accommodate the way they should be installed, then I'm fine with it. I would rather have one place that a family can safely cross the highway. You know, you may have to walk 3 blocks to get to it, but currently we have a sign that kind of says, this is where you safely cross the road, but you can't. You know, I'd rather have no sign there. I think it would help the liability to the city. But we should have one place that a group can go, activate the light, and at least the traffic would see the flashing lights, and it's not gonna be 100% safe, but it's better than what we have now. Right now, we have some paint on the road, just saying, we're going across,
And
It'll be all right.
That's the intent of this Third Street with the rapid flash beacons, is to create that.
Right, sir, and but let's face it, the signs are universal in the state, and it's a state law. There's somebody standing in that crosswalk, they have to stop. 90% of them don't stop, because you know, Jake, we got Lions Club there on Third Street now, and I park on the other side of the street, and I'll just walk out there to see,
Yeah.
and one time, somebody stopped for me. Rest of the time,
Yep.
it's like that. You could sit there and write ticket after ticket, just like that.
It's the same thing, they don't teach driver's ed anymore.
Yeah.
If the red light goes out, what happens when the red light goes out? It's supposed to become a four-way stop. Go sit down there next time the power goes out.
Yeah.
It's a free-for-all.
But let's find out, well, get with us and let us know maybe what our cost will be,
Me
what.
the last couple of weeks.
Our cost is free. You know, we-
I know, but installation is not.
No, we would just use city labor to do that. It's all solar panels, no electricity, it's all solar.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's just, we have to go down and make sure it physically will fit, you know, in between the conflicts. If we can resolve that, then yeah, you know, Andy's already said he'll give us the equipment.
And then the chief can really write tickets on top of that.
Remember these signs that Mexico, I don't know if they still have, Mexico Beach had some.
Right.
Same
Yeah,
thing?
same thing, yeah.
Yes, sir. You can see it. for
Yes.
sure. You can see it.
Well, and I think when the people started putting the bright flashing lights, it may have implied to other people, well, if you don't have the bright flashing lights, I don't have to stop.
They do.
But I've been chasing that since August of last year.
Okay, well, good. The other thing I'd like to mention is, at our last meeting, I asked the board if they would allow me to reach out to Fish and Wildlife to maybe do some upgrades to Buck Griffin Lake. And myself and the mayor and Jim and John met with the fisheries department, and they were excited to hear from the city. They have ordered feeders. They're gonna donate 2 feeders to the city. They're gonna give us a aerator for the oxygen in the lake. They're gonna stop fish in the pond. They're going to control the vegetation, any type of grass or vegetation that's counterproductive to the lake, they will take care of. It will be on their bi-yearly evaluation. All of those things are free to the city. The only thing that would be a cost to the city is we would agree to have a once a year, like kids fishing tournament or some kind of event. So, and then we buy the feed, a couple bags of feed a month, I think is what they said. So Fish and Wildlife will start this week. If you see a boat out in the lake, they're shocking the lake to get a fish count and assessment of the fish. I asked if we could have a fish fry after, and they said no. But, so that's a good thing for the city. I think that you'll see some improvements and you'll see people, doing a lot more fishing in the coming months.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But
Excited
the
about
fishing
that.
tournament, bring it back.
The only other thing I have is I know that the county at our workshop, was planning to discuss why the city has yet to sign off on the county's mitigation plan. I think it's a 5-year plan or however long it is. And you've heard me say in the past, I will not support signing any plan that supports the county going into the water and the sewer business, and that's on their plan. And they're asking for $27 million. I think they're trying to persuade the state and the different units in the state that there's a need, but I would remind ourselves and the county that after a Category 5 hurricane, our water or sewer was up and running within less than 24 hours. So I think that's a falsehood, and I think that they're trying to send a message to the state of Florida that's not true, and it's definitely not backed up for a need of $27 million. I'm also not going to sign off on their plan that would eventually put them into the water and the sewer business. And if they move forward and we're taking the customers, the city has more water customers than in the county than we do in the city. So we try to fight the fight of holding the line on our water bill. But if the county ever went into the water business in the unincorporated areas of the city, our water bills would probably have to be doubled or tripled for the people in the city. So that's ridiculous. So I say all that to ask that staff send a letter to FEMA and to the other agencies that have an impact on the FEMA funding, because in their letter from the county, it says you need to sign off and support the mitigation plan of the county, or you will not be eligible for future FEMA funding. I don't believe that. Just because it comes from the county, I'm not going to believe it. So I'm going to ask, and I would ask the board to support, that we authorize either the mayor or our city administrator to send a letter and find out directly from FEMA what are the rules on forcing the city to sign a mitigation plan for the county. And we have projects on that plan that are very important to the city. But once again, the county's wanting to hold the city hostage the same way they did the other day over the annexation. They wanted to hold us hostage on annexing our own property by talking about density. So that's on my mind, and I would ask support from the other commissioners and the mayor that we find out the facts on this funding. That's all I have.
Oh, yeah, you probably see on my notes here, I've got DEO, DEP, and water management.
Right.
Down there, and first of all, I told Jim a long time ago, unless the board directed me to sign it, I wasn't gonna sign that document. It's full, not only is it full of errors, but it's full of things that are not true and that are not needed. But, what I was gonna ask, the permission of the board would be, I mean, we've got to get our ducks in a row, folks, because come Tuesday, there's a agenda item of the county to supply water to all the unincorporated areas of the county, and which you alluded to. We've got a lot of customers, so I touched base with water management today. I got a text while we were sitting here from them trying to get up with me. I wanted a meeting with the head of Brett Seifert, head of water management, and me and Jim, and then also we need to have a point person. I mean, I can be it along with Jim to notify DEP and DEO and all the affected agencies and possibly whoever the group, state agency or federal that's signed off on this mitigation thing. You know, where we stand. And so the lady asked me today why I wanted a meeting, and I told her, and because they're in White City drilling a well, water well right now that we're not sure they're even legally authorized to do. So we've got to get on top of that, get some answers. So we can't sit idly by and let all this happen to us. I mean, if we want to go file bankruptcy, that's what we'll have to do if they get our water customers. So I'm a little bit, I'm not surprised, but our two city commissioners on the county commission, I hope they understand they live in the city, and I hope they understand what they're actually voting to do, and I'm not sure they do. So if you guys, I mean, I don't want to do something and y'all come up and say, I didn't know about this and why didn't you tell me type thing. I'd like, we can't have everybody out running different ones. So if you just allow me and Jim to start the process of notifying these agencies and see where we stand.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm ready to hire an attorney.
Yeah.
I don't want to dump that on our attorney. I think he's capable of handling it. But, I want to be ahead of this.
We got
If you don't, if you don't mind, I'd like to read what's on the website of the Gulf County Commissioners. Just so we know why, I read this today myself, and instead of just talking about it, here's what's on the website. An ordinance of Gulf County, Florida, establishing a Gulf County Water Service District and establishing requirements and guidelines for all unincorporated parcels within Gulf County for connection and services within the boundaries of Gulf County as authorized by Florida Statute 125. That's what's on their website, and that's what they're holding a special meeting for.
And I don't think I think it's a regular, or is it special or regular meeting? They meet the last Tuesday.
Like next Tuesday.
Well, let's see. It would be their regular meeting.
And I'd like to make the point that our city administrator had read that and called to get a copy of the ordinance and actually had to submit a public records request and was told, in response to the public records request, was told that they didn't have the ordinance, that their attorney had the ordinance. And I don't believe you've seen it yet, have you?
No, sir.
So.
Yeah, so we're unfortunately, we're not in good graces with the county, and we found that out last week. So, a little naive thinking it would get better, I guess, but it didn't. So, also, another newspaper article, Panama City Beach eyeing bump in water and sewer fees. Well, everybody's finding out around us, it's not cheap to run a water plant, the sewer plant. They're going up 1% on water, and I believe it's 3 or 4% on wastewater. So, it's, county say they produce water $1.50 a gallon. Well, they might can, but if they put $20 million debt service on top of that, I don't think they can do it. I know they can't do it, but they're not comparing apples to apples. So anyway, that's all I have, folks, and we'll keep you posted on all of that I just brought up and where we're going and what everybody that's in authority says. So we'll move on. Nothing else. We'll stand adjourned.